Okay, so we have Ed Drewett.
Hello.
And we have
Jamie McCready.
Jamie McCready.
Yeah, you will notice him, you know, playing the guitar whilst we do the live session. So, first off, Ed.
Yeah.
How long have you been actually writing for?
God, I've been writing. I wrote my first song when I was about 12. I sung it to my friends in the park. I made the girls cry. Yeah, and then from then on, I don't know. I never really knew that songwriting was an option in life. It wasn't taught in mainstream schools. It wasn't even, you know, when you'd go to the career advisor. It was never like, oh well, you know, if you really want to risk your life, you can try and be a songwriter. I kind of resent the education system a little bit for that, but whatever. I got out and found my own way. Yeah, and then went to a couple of colleges and started. Well, they had a songwriting lesson, and my teacher was like, "You've got a natural knack to it," and I was like, "I do? Okay, cool." Came out of that, had a few years of really struggling to try and get in the music industry. Horrible jobs, 12, 14-hour shift at Stansted Airport at 3, 4 in the morning, building sites. I like the building site actually. But yeah, that's kind of how it came about. And then I met a guy who did Paolo Nutini's first album, and he was like, "Well, look, I'll give you a chance." Gave me a day in the session, and this was my first time in a professional studio writing an actual song. And I guess I did all right because he kept me on, and that leads me to a really important point. People say, "Oh, you know, oh, you're so lucky," or "you must have worked really hard," and they're both correct. Those terms are both correct. I was lucky to a certain extent, to a certain point, and this goes for anyone in life. Like, luck can take you to any point in life, right? It can take you to that opportunity where you're in front of, where you go to a gig and you're in front of a bigwig from a record label, and you give him your CD. If that CD isn't good enough, or if he doesn't think the music's good enough, then that's it. But when you get that opportunity that luck brings you to, that's your point to then show your talent. You know, from then on, that's you. And if you don't cut it, you don't cut it. That's harsh. That's life. So I guess from, you know, that day I met the producer, that was my luck. And then from then on, I had to take it upon myself to make sure I nailed that song, even though I didn't really know what I was doing. Yeah, I think that's a very good rule for life in general.
I mean, I saw you were nodding your head when you was talking about the point of, you know, doing all those, I won't say menial jobs, but in comparison to what you actually want to do as a career, it's almost like...
It's a million miles away.
You've got to keep your eye on the prize. You've got to know what you want to do. And no matter what comes up in life, you have to just do all of the other things to make sure you still get there. You know, I've worked in call centres, I've made bikes for a living, you know, getting up at 6 in the morning. And
that's pretty cool.
done just about everything you can think for ages, and then, you know, you work 24-hour days sometimes, and you don't sleep for 2 days or whatever, because you believe passionately in what you do. And just like Ed said, you know, if you do get a break, and when you do get a break, because they do come along, you've got to be ready to grab it with both hands. You can't say to someone, "Oh, brilliant, now that I've met you, can you come back in a week and I'll have it practiced?" Because they'll go, "Well, no." You know, so you have to make sure you're on the case.
It's that mentality to hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
You rush to get there.
Yeah.
So, you know, what college did you go to? Because you said they did a song.
I went to 2 colleges. I left school at 16, and that was completely off my own accord. I knew that education wasn't right for me, hence why I can't add up. And I got out and did a performing arts college in Charlton, South East London, and then went to Vocal Tech in West London, in Acton, which is where I, you know, found that I could write an alright tune. Yeah, and then obviously from then on, that was the limbo. Once that course was done, that was the limbo. You know, that was like, okay, well, millions of people all around the world want to do what I'm doing. want to do what I want to do. Millions of people want to get into the music industry. How can I get in? And that's where, like I said, I found that luck. You know, my mum and dad knew someone who knew this producer, and she gave me his number, and he gave me a chance, and I did well. You know, there's no ifs and buts about it. I impressed, and then from then on it was a very rocky road, and it still is. You know, even talking to you guys now, like, you know, I'm going through tough stuff this morning that has stressed me out today, and things continuously will go wrong. But without sounding too cliche, if you have enough faith in what you're doing, and for me that is my music, that's the songs that I write, most of that should be completely irrelevant. All the bad stuff you should be able to brush it off, because if that one thing is keeping you going, then you get on with it.
Especially if you make your product, if you like, good enough. You know, if you stand up and you have a catalogue of work which is excellent, then it doesn't matter who believed in you one day or who didn't. You know, eventually, you know, the quality that you've invested into what you choose to represent yourself will get you a long way. I mean, you know, Ed and I do different things. You know, I play guitar for a living for people, and I, you know, often work as a jazz musician and as a session musician, and with lots of different places. But you have to make sure that you've invested your life into it so that people can see that it's the real deal, and then things will go right, won't they? And you'll have really terrible days, but you can manage it.